Once upon a time, in a big, sunny forest, there lived a hare who loved to show off.
I'm the fastest animal in the forest,
he declared, hopping onto a big rock. The animals gathered around, clapping their paws and cheering. Some even said,
"You're amazing, Hare!"
But not everyone was impressed. Near the back of the crowd, a quiet, steady tortoise raised his head.
Hare, I think I can beat you in a race.
The animals gasped. The hare burst out laughing.
You beat me? That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
The hare laughed so hard that he rolled off the rock.
This will be the easiest race of my life,
he said.
You're on, Tortoise.
The tortoise just smiled.
We'll see,
he said. An old owl flapped down from a tree.
Attention, everyone!
He hooted.
The race will begin tomorrow at sunrise, from the meadow to the big oak tree. Let's see who wins!
All the animals buzzed with excitement. The next morning, the meadow was filled with animals ready to watch the race. The hare stood at the starting line, hopping on the spot. The tortoise walked over, slow and steady.
Ready?
Asked the owl.
Ready,
said the hare.
as I'll ever be,
said the tortoise.
Go!
Shouted the owl. The hare zoomed off, leaving a cloud of dust behind him. The tortoise, as always, took his first step calmly. The animals cheered and waved their paws. The hare dashed through the forest trail, leaping over logs and bushes.
This is too easy,
he said, giggling to himself.
That tortoise doesn't stand a chance.
Meanwhile, the tortoise kept walking, one slow step at a time. Tap, tap, tap. He didn't rush, but he didn't stop either. The sun warmed his shell, and he smiled to himself. After running for a while, the hare stopped and looked back. He couldn't even see the tortoise.
He's so far behind,
the hare said, yawning.
I think I'll take a little nap under this tree. I've got plenty of time.
The hare curled up under a shady tree, closing his eyes. Soon, he was snoring softly. Little butterflies fluttered around him, and a squirrel peeked down from the branches. The tortoise walked past the tree where the hare was sleeping. He didn't say a word. Step by step, he kept going. Some animals along the trail cheered softly.
Go, tortoise, go.
The forest animals were amazed as the tortoise steadily moved closer to the finish line.
He's not fast, but he doesn't stop,
whispered a fox.
He might actually win.
The hare stretched, yawned, and blinked his eyes.
Time to finish this race,
he said. But when he looked at the trail ahead, he froze.
What? The tortoise is so far ahead?
The hare leapt up and dashed as fast as he could.
I can still win. I'm faster than anyone,
he shouted, his paws pounding the trail. The tortoise could see the big oak tree in the distance. The finish line was so close now.
Almost there,
he whispered to himself. His steps were slow, but they were steady. The hare ran faster than ever before. The trees and bushes blurred as he zoomed past them.
I'll beat him, I will,
he said, breathing hard. But the oak tree was getting closer and closer. Just as the hare reached the finish line, the tortoise stretched out his neck and crossed it first. The animals cheered so loudly that the forest echoed with their joy.
Tortoise wins! Tortoise wins!
The hare slumped to the ground, ears drooping.
How did I lose?
He muttered. The tortoise walked over and gave him a kind smile.
You lost because you were overconfident, Hare. Slow and steady wins the race.
The tortoise turned to the animals.
It doesn't matter how fast or slow you are,
he said.
What matters is to keep going and never give up.
The crowd nodded and clapped. That night, the forest animals had a big party under the stars. The tortoise was the guest of honor. The hare promised to learn from his mistake. And from that day on, the forest was filled with tales of the race where slow and steady won the day.